Hello, everybody.
Yay.
Welcome to another episode of KDM. If you don't already know, I will repeat myself as a reminder, a gentle reminder. The K stands for Kit Bowen, my friend and colleague and fellow critic. Hi, Kit.
Hello,
How are
everyone.
you?
And the D stands for Dimitri Panos, my very good friend as well. And the M stands
Hello,
for
everybody. Movies.
movies.
Because that's what Kit and I do. We love to talk movies. It's how our relationship began, talking Disney movies, if I remember
Yep.
correctly. And then going forward, we've talked about mo upcoming movies we love. We talk Oscars, and we talk about movies that come out. Sort of kind of like a Siskel and Ebert kind of thing, except we don't really hate each other and we have a lot of fun doing it. And this special episode, is a clear indication as to how well we love what we do. We love going to the movies. We love taking that journey, so to speak, that trek, that, shall we say, Odyssey to the movie theater to watch movies. Of course, we are going to be talking about Christopher Nolan's latest epic, The Odyssey. So, yeah, there you have it. That's what we're talking about. Well, Kit, this is a movie that we did not unfortunately see together. I wish we had. But we did watch nonetheless. And well, I'd love to open up with your thoughts and opinion on Nolan's latest epic.
Well, obviously, this is something right up his alley, as far as filmmaking is concerned, because he's just as crazy as a filmmaker as you would say James Cameron is. Um, he's really just a cinematic dude, and this is truly an epic. I mean, they kind of don't make movies like this much anymore. I mean, and Christopher Nolan's kind of a purist as far as what he shoots. So, there's not a whole lot of CG going on in this. It's a lot of practical effects, and I've heard it's just like crazy practical effects. Obviously, this movie's been out for a while, so we'll be spoiling it a little bit here and there, but hope, many
The
people
book
may
has
have
been out
already
for
seen
some
it.
time too,
But I'm
for
just
a
saying,
little bit.
yeah, yeah, kind of know the story. But like the practical effects part, though, that's the kind of thing that we're giving away a little bit, and it's pretty spectacular. But yes, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Um, you know, like you said, it is a classic, quite literally, a Greek classic story. And there were two of the books by Homer, Iliad, and then the Odyssey. Iliad's kind of the telling of the Trojan War and Helen of Troy and all that. And by the way, I just watched Troy with Brad Pitt, and I actually am glad I did because it kind of gave me a little bit of context into the Odyssey. But even though it's kind of a, over the top sort of sand and sword type thing, but it was still
Right.
gave you some context to how it all started. But yeah, so the story is the same, and I think he was fairly faithful to the story. Odysseus has conquered in the Trojan War, and he's trying to get home, and there's many things thrown at him. In fact, it's funny. I saw a video. Some people have done a lot of memes and videos on the Odyssey, and it's like, yeah, running. Let's get off the ship on this island. No, no, bad, bad. Let's get back on the ship. Let's run, run, run. Get off on another island. Nope, nope. Still bad, still bad. Let's get back on the ship. A lot of that. But we had the Cyclops scene, and I guess that was the only I read that was because I can't really remember the whole story, but that the Cyclops in the classic tale actually speaks. In this one, he kind of sort of half speaks, but he's not really talking that much. But he was kind of very interesting looking Cyclops, I have to say, a unique looking
Yes.
Cyclops with the eye kind of on the side of his head, and it was it was like, ooh. Um, but yeah, that was great scene. And then the one scene I was talking about with the practical effects was the Saoirse scene played by Samantha Morton. She was quite good. Who
Yes.
she turns his crewmen into pigs, but apparently she actually used like mold and clay and stuff and was actually, you know, doing all the stuff with real properties, with real things there. So it wasn't just CG. So I thought that was a really intense scene. That was really good. So lots of these little mini, which is what the Odyssey's about, these like obstacles, these things he must overcome. Matt Damon was perfect. He was great. And then, you've got the back home story with his wife Penelope, played by Anne Hathaway, and his son Telemachus or Telemachus, whatever. Telemachus, that's it. Played by
Telemachus.
Tom Holland. He was quite good and trying to find out about his dad and whether he's still alive. And then you've got all these suitors who are just hanging out in the palace, eating and drinking their food until she says, "Okay, I'll go for one of you." And one of those is the bad guy, Robert Pattinson, who played a good. He did a good job too. Um, but a lot of iconic moments. And I really wasn't bored. I mean, I did look at my watch a few times just to say, okay, where are we now? All right, got it. But I really wasn't bored. My biggest complaint, and it's still my biggest complaint on Christopher Nolan, is his sound and score is too
Oh
much.
my, you're kidding. Because
It's
I
too
was going to say the
much.
exact, oh, you're kidding. Oh my God.
No, too
Oh, okay,
much. It
this is
was
where
too
we're going
loud
to
in
disagree.
parts. It was too
It
loud
wasn't
in
loud
parts. It
enough.
was no,
It,
too loud.
no.
Too
No,
loud.
this is where
I'm
you
not
and
the
I are
only
going
one who
to
thinks this,
disagree.
by the way. I've heard many
I
people say, and
this is where you and I are going to disagree.
he did it in Oppenheimer too. It's like the score overpowers the dialogue, and you can't hear what they're
I
saying because the score is
I
too
s-
large.
I so 100% disagree with that about the score. I think it is one of the most, I'm listening to it. It's on in the background right now. It is perhaps, and I was going to talk about this. I felt it perhaps his most subdued and subtle score
Are
that
you
he's
kidding
done.
me?
Absolutely. 100%. I mean,
Well,
I'm
that
listening,
yeah,
listen to the
all the
score
fight
and compare.
scenes, all the fight scenes,
But
it
the
was just
fight
too
scenes you want
loud.
that no,
Well, it was really loud in
this
my
we are going
theater,
to
so
be.
maybe it
It
wasn't
was
loud where
it
you were, but it was
no
too
no no
loud.
no. It was I saw this at City Walk, one of the few theaters in the country that can actually show IMAX 70 millimeter, and
Oh,
their
maybe I
sound
didn't see it
system
on
is no.
70 mil. Maybe the sound
You saw
system
it
in
in
my
IMAX, did
IMAX
you
was
not?
bad. Yeah.
No, I no the Burbank actually again I will defend the AMC Burbank as well as being one of the better
Yeah,
theaters,
usually it's fine.
AMC theaters. But this one I couldn't disagree with you more. I find that
I'm not saying that the
what's the
music
gentleman's name?
itself was bad. I'm just saying that it was
No, 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 no,
overpowering.
no. I know, I know what you're saying. But this Ludwig Göransson, I think that for this movie, it was one of the more subtle. Like it wasn't like a Hans Zimmer. That's the gentleman I'm trying to think of. It wasn't a Hans Zimmer Dark Knight type of score, which is like a lot of his is in your face, loud. I felt this one played as I thought Ludwig's
Okay,
score
whatever.
here was a beautiful bed to whatever action and whatever non-action was happening. And I thought that there was, and I was actually going to say, oh well, you can't complain about the sound and not being able to hear dialogue,
Are
and
you
you proved me
kidding me?
wrong.
What movie were
I
you
not.
watching?
I was watching a movie called The Odyssey, directed and written by
Wow.
Christopher Nolan,
Well,
and I
I
saw it
can't.
in IMAX 70 millimeter.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we should
Nope.
take a we should do a poll. I'm shocked. Shocked. Shocked, I say shocked. I wouldn't be more shocked if I just turned into a pig right now.
Yeah, whatever. So
Whatever.
yes. So but besides that, I did enjoy myself overall. So I would say definitely worthy. I'm pretty sure many people that I know, unfortunately, would not want to sit through 3 hours. So they've said, "Do I really have to see it in the movie theater?" I said, "Well, if you want the whole cinematic experience, yes, but want to take some breaks in between, then you might have to wait. But yeah, overall, a worthy piece, and I'm sure it's going to get nominated for all kinds of Oscars. But I personally, for whatever reason, even though the score, both scores, both movies, I actually liked Oppenheimer a little bit more, only because he brought such relevancy to the whole nuclear program and just what he did with that, and the acting in that was really spectacular as well. So for me, if I'm going to compare the two, because they're both very, huge movies in a lot of respects, I kind of liked Oppenheimer just a little bit more, but the Odyssey is the Odyssey. I mean, like you said, you have to take 3 hours to tell that story. It's a lot. And I
Yeah,
thought,
it's
and I thought it was beautifully done. I really did. I mean,
yeah.
just the
Yeah.
visuals and all of the trials and tribulations and the acting and all of it was just spectacular. So certainly a cinematic treat and feat.
I agreed 100% there. Yeah, no, I don't disagree with a lot of what you said. And I do believe like this is, there's an author, a gentleman by the name of Joseph Campbell who became famous writing heroes' journeys and such. But well before him, there was Homer.
Yes.
And the hero's journey is something that is a very I don't. It's not overused, I don't believe, but
Yeah.
it's a theme throughout a lot of movies. The
Yep.
original Star Wars trilogy is a hero's journey. Lucas has credited Joseph Campbell
Yeah.
for his structure there. So the hero's journey has been around for some time. I would
Yep.
even go as far as saying I would go as far as saying that Homer invented it. I mean,
Kind of.
so I would say, I don't know
Or
anybody
just
before him.
or just Greek mythology in general.
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just felt that this was immersive cinema. I felt as if I were on those shores, as if I were in the battle scenes, as if I were escaping the Cyclops. Which I'll pause for a moment, talk about the Cyclops.
It was a
So
puppet,
the
right? Or
Cyclops,
something?
it was a puppet that
Yeah.
they, I guess, CG'd a little bit over, but ultimately practical mixed with technology. This, I think, we're in agreement. This is how this technology can be used, and Nolan. You're right. There are a few writer, directors, auteurs out there who will make these big epic kind of movies. I think that when people look back at this year, 2026, they will remember the Odyssey, right, as being a pure filmmaker movie. But we also, I mean, it's been such an incredible year for movies.
Hmm.
For horror movies, when you look at movies like Obsession, practically done, and even Backrooms, practically done, low
Yep.
budgets, and
Yep.
they make a bunch of money. And now we have the Odyssey, which, as you said, location wise and practical effects wise, again, it's there. And when he filmed this in IMAX cameras, first movie to be 100% filmed with IMAX cameras. And if this is not reason for anyone to go out and watch this movie on the big screen and in IMAX, again, you're looking for that movie going experience. Christopher Nolan delivers it here. I think that it was. I agree with you. Like it's just a hair under 3 hours. I looked at my watch the same as you did, just to see where I was,
Yep.
time wise. Like how far in, how potentially longer do we have? But it wasn't oh, Jesus, this movie is dragging. How long do I have to go?
Yeah.
It was none
No
of
way.
that. It was just
No way.
casually looking at my watch. Again, and what I really loved about this movie is actually its pacing. So the first 45 minutes, I would argue, it's a little bit slower
Yeah. Yeah.
because you're being set up. Like Nolan plays with time a lot.
Yes.
And whether he does flashback at this one, with the exception like the Dark Knight movies, to it, that those have like throughways of plot. But then when you look at Memento, when you look at Inception, even Interstellar, he plays around with time and he jumps back and forth. You have to get into that rhythm. And where he succeeds as a filmmaker and a writer, I believe, is this movie is not made for anybody whose attention span is that of a gnat. If you're into micro dramas because, that's all you can afford or handle, yeah, this movie's not for you. Like the
Yeah.
movie takes its time to set up and get you
Yep.
into the rhythm of how the movie's going to go. And as it goes and goes, I found myself being more and more drawn into this journey. And that's what I loved about it so much. And I also love, like, Nolan, like some others, is a filmmaker's movie
Yep.
director or film
Yep.
director. He loves movies. And with a
He
foot in
does.
its past, with the sword and sandal, like it's there, right? And I
Yeah.
even saw things that reminded me of certain Sinbad movies, right?
Yes.
And he's right,
Absolutely. Yeah.
absolutely without that,
Absolutely.
he plays an ode to Harryhausen without it being stop motion, but
Yeah.
this is what I saw, right? These are
Yeah.
movies I grew up with. And it gave me chills watching it, going, oh, all right, Nolan, you win. Okay. And it just, the way the journey goes along, and it has a very satisfying ending. And I think a lot of what's happened in the Odyssey, the movie, his adaptation, you could actually kind of superimpose it over to what's going on in society today in
Yeah.
certain means. It is a war story. It is a PTSD. It is a having depression over war or rethinking certain actions that a person may have taken. It's
Yep.
all is in there if you want to look for it. But at the
Right.
end, it is a audience satisfying movie. Like you'll
Yes.
applaud because the good guy wins in such a great fashion and way.
Right.
And the other thing I think that really helped too is to me there was not one bad performance in this movie
No.
at all, and everybody plays their part like wonderfully. And it's just a marvel to see. And when I compare it to some of those other movies like an Obsession, I go, yeah, they're on a different level, right, from a budgetary wise, but
Yeah.
Nolan is able to do what those people did with Obsession, all practical camera and
Yeah.
get the
That's pretty
crew.
amazing.
It is
And and
amazing.
like apparently, I mean, not Damon, they've all been talking about it and talking about it, but they said if you saw a massive scene with 1,000 people, there were 1,000 people there. There was, it's like every
Yeah,
scene, yeah, if you saw ships on the water, those were ships on the water, so,
yeah,
um, yeah. So yeah, he
and
he absolutely. Now let me ask you something, because there has been
yeah,
some controversy over this film.
sure,
Lots of
sure, yeah,
controversy.
there is. Yep.
Being that you are Greek,
Yes,
were you a
yes.
little upset with the fact that there weren't as many Greek actors in it? I mean, I'm just
Look, I
curious.
joked about it. I joked about this very, very early on when one of the trailers came out, and I said, not one Greek was harmed in the making of this movie because no Greeks were hired in the making of this movie. I don't care. Honestly, I don't care. I just don't care. I don't go to,
I
this controversy to me is kind of crazy. You're not light enough. You're not dark enough. You're not the right color. You're not the right race or religion or
right.
like no, actors going to act.
Yep.
Okay. And if they're very good at it, I don't care. Matt Damon like looks like he is not a classic Greek for this,
No.
right? And I don't care. Draw me into the story. This is a Greek mythology written by someone who, is very Greek.
Yeah.
I grew up going to Greek
And
school
certainly
and
there
learning
was
about
not
Greek.
a lot of color at that time. There weren't a whole lot
And
of, and if you
everybody
were
was
of a
olive skinned.
certain color, you were the Gauls or the whatever the heck, and
Yeah.
yeah, you lived in a different place.
So
So I get that. I
I
get that, but
don't care.
come on.
I joked, and again, I said that jokingly. Um, at the end of the day, I'm immersed in this movie, and
Yeah.
I'm just like I'm loving it. And they were talking about the dialogue and stuff. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, really? You want to sit through a 3-hour epic with what's Homer's thing? What is it? It's something pentameter. It's like
Yeah,
you want to
iambic
watch a movie like
pentameter.
that? Yeah, iambic pentameter for 3 hours. Get the hell out of here! You're lying to yourself, and like you're just being contrarian to be contrarian. Again, I can't point to any performance. John Leguizamo really
Yeah.
stuck out. I thought he was tremendous,
Yes.
and even
Yes.
Pattinson as the
I know
whelp.
he was good.
He's very good. He was very good at that. Zendaya, she's fine. I mean, let's
Well,
be.
they kind of
I don't think she has a ton.
explain. I thought I liked that. I liked that idea that he was his sort of, he needed some kind of a bit of a guidance, I
Mhm.
guess. So he imagined
Yes,
Athena, but he
right,
imagined Athena as like you said, PTSD. I didn't even think about that until you said it. It was like, yes, because Odysseus, he saw what happened, what they did in Troy, and one of the people he saw being killed was Zendaya, who was a Trojan, I guess, or whatever, and she was just killed. So for him, and that's what kind of, I guess, cemented it to him in his brain was
right,
like, what did we just do? This is
right. What have
awful.
I
War,
done?
war.
Yep. What
Yeah,
what is it good for?
right.
Yeah. Well, like, what have I done? And I think that
So
carries
that's who he
Odysseus.
imagined is Athena. And I liked that. I liked
Correct.
that a
I,
lot.
I
I
did
thought that was
too.
a
I did
very
too.
good connection.
I, it, I again, I agree 100%. I mean, she's fine. Like she's very good. Um, you had suggested, and I do believe that it'll be nominated for a lot. Right now, it's like my number two it's my number two movie of the year. And I do believe, honestly, between now, what are we in? The end of July, right? In December, we're not going to get another film like this.
No.
Like
Mm-mm.
the Nolan movies come every so many years, but a movie like Odyssey, well, it's just very rare. And it does harken back to those, you said it best. If there are 1,000, if you see seemingly 1,000 people on screen, there are 1,000 people on screen. Much like the Cecil B. DeMille era of
Yes.
that big
Yes.
filmmaking. The
Yes.
sets are real. They filmed a portion of it at Universal Studios in Hollywood.
Your favorite place on the
Using
planet.
my favorite place in the planet. Absolutely. And the boat is there, and the Trojan horse is at right outside of City Walk, and you just get a sense of just grand, epic filmmaking. You said that we haven't seen in many years. Cameron does it, and Cameron is able to blend special effects. Like his stuff is practical, and the fact that he's not like using AI generated, he tears the envelope or breaks that wall
Yes.
by creating a technology to help better aid him. So
Yeah.
his movies are epic in his way, where Nolan's are epic in his own. You mentioned Oppenheimer, and that movie too. Much of it was filmed in IMAX, and his effects in Oppenheimer created a great tension and a buzz,
Yes.
and that's why I loved Oppenheimer for what it is, and it turned something that I thought, I don't know, like how's he going to make this interesting for 3 hours? Well, he does, and yeah, I think Odyssey should win for Best Picture. I just don't see another movie to
Well,
come
we'll
out
see. We'll see.
between now and the year.
I think
That
him
just
winning for Oppenheimer though was like if he wins again for this, I won't be unhappy about it, but I do feel that maybe. who knows? He might not win again for this, but it
Mm.
is right now, the hugest, most cinematic film of the year, 100%. I can't see anything
Yeah,
really beating that. So
right.
we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
And here's the great part.
I
Here's the great
yeah,
part. It's making crap loads of money. People
yes,
are
yes.
traveling to go see this film. So that's nice. That's great.
I
That just,
I work
again,
with people.
probably warms your little cinematic heart going to the movie theaters and seeing a film. People are traveling to the theaters
Yeah,
that have the 70 millimeter to see this movie. I mean,
I'm
that's
going to
nice.
add one more. Movie theaters are reopening for
Yes.
the Odyssey. Take the Village in Westwood, which has been closed for many a year, and some high celebrity type folk had bought it to run
Yep.
it, and the movie that they opened it up with is the Odyssey. I work with a lot of folk who are younger than I, and I know some who've seen this movie twice, and I've heard they're going to go see it again. The Odyssey. The Odyssey. I'm seeing this three times. What?
Yeah.
So you're
It's great.
right.
It's
It's
great.
making great money. I think it's great for business, but I think this whole year we have to pull back, right?
Yeah.
And look at this year and what has driven people. Look at the movies that have succeeded and look at the ones that not so much have succeeded. Supergirl, I'm kind of pointing to you.
Yeah.
They are movies that have been built upon like some originality. They're
Mhm.
practical. They grab audiences. Now, the Odyssey, somebody could argue, oh, it's an IP from 3,000 years ago. Nobody's
Yeah.
really made the Odyssey. I mean, the only
Right.
other one that I
Well,
can
I mean, you can't
Clash of the
you
Titans, maybe.
no, that's
But
no, that's Perseus's story. That's a
I
whole different
understand, but it's
story.
in that
More like
whole.
Percy
It's
Jackson
just
though. Percy Jackson and
sure,
yeah, there's look, I grew up loving Greek mythology. My oldest sister loved it, so she turned me on to it. So I always loved all of these stories. And Clash of the
right,
Titans was one of my favorites when I was a kid. And the Harryhausen stuff, Sinbad's and all of that stuff.
right.
I really did like this, and I do like this. These are the stories, folks. This is how it starts, babe. This is the
Yeah. You tell
Greek
them, kid, this is how
mythology.
it starts, babe.
This Greek mythology, this is what it all started with. And,
Yeah,
storytelling has always been key to everything. So,
to everything. It really is. And when you think about the hardship, like to make this movie, Nolan himself has said this is the most difficult movie I've ever
and
made.
the actors all say
And
the same. Yeah. Especially Matt
yeah,
Damon. My God, he went
yeah,
through hell and back again to make this movie, I'm sure.
and he's like, we would go to a set where we would have to hike up a mountain, and the locations are real and such. Yeah, there isn't this type of filmmaking, and it's incredible. And using IMAX cameras, this is the other thing I was thinking about while watching the movie, is there are a lot of close-ups, especially on Anne Hathaway, right?
Yeah.
A lot of close-ups, and they're doing this with an IMAX camera. I've seen a sample of the IMAX cameras that they're using, and albeit they are a lot smaller than they were in, say, the 80s, 90s, to early 2000s, but yet they are still a monster to hold on
Yeah.
to, and you only have like 3 minutes or so of film to get a take,
Yeah.
which I find fascinating too.
Yeah.
Where Nolan very hard. Like they could be in the middle of something, they would be running out of film, and Nolan would say, "Okay, pause." He would never. He tried not to use the word cut, and his reasoning was on a film set, the second you say cut, everybody is like their arms go down, cigarettes come out, phones come out, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
He goes,
Yeah.
I didn't want that to happen. I wanted to keep that rhythm. So, all right, pause. We swap out the film. All right, let's keep going. Which again,
Yeah.
that to me is it's innovation. We're not going to get another movie like it until maybe the next Christopher Nolan.
Or maybe
movie.
James Cameron will get off his freaking Avatar ass and do something
Sure.
else.
I'm a fan of the movies, but I don't disagree. I mean, come on, man. Good God. Yes, I agree. Yeah, let's move
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah, let's do something else now, James, because he's a great
Let's
filmmaker
do
too.
something else.
Not, yeah,
Yeah,
he's a
let's
great
do something
filmmaker.
else. But Nolan has, cemented himself into,
Yes.
cinemaphile history, and people love him for his what he puts out there, and
Yeah.
that's why the Odyssey is doing. The Odyssey is also doing very well, not because it's a Marvel or DC or Star Wars IP. It's
Yeah.
doing very well because to your point, story is everything, and people
Story
have
is
gone on
everything.
for this close to 3 hour epic. And when you factor in the trailers, factor in the advertising, factor in Nicole Kidman coming in, you are literally talking something that where you're sitting in a movie theater for over 3 hours,
Yeah.
and it's worth the sit, and it's worth people are finding that it is worth going out
Yep.
to see this.
Yeah. So yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing it
I would
again.
give this a solid, well, maybe I'll just take off 4.5 for just some I'm not saying
So you got
it
to give
did
a
not
half.
ruin the movie for me, but it was loud and a little overpowering at times. So 4.5 for me for the Odyssey, but certainly well worth it to try to see it on the big screen, especially if you love movies. I mean, that's just hands down. That's it. That's it. If you love
Yes,
movies,
and
this is a fucking movie.
it. You tell them. You tell them. We're not editing that out. Do
Mm-mm.
not edit that out.
I
Yeah,
won't.
I give it 5 stars. I think it is, cinematic worthy. And you're right. If you're complaining about movies these days and such, you've got nothing to complain about this year. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, you
it's
just
true.
don't.
It's
Because
true.
whether it be indie film, whether it be IP, when you look at movies like what Super Mario has done, when you look at what Toy Story 5 has accomplished, all those movies are out there, folks.
Hmm.
And now there's the Odyssey.
Yep.
So it gives you something different. We have had a wide variety of movies come out this summer, and they're all made for you, the moviegoer, in mind, particularly the Odyssey. And it's very worthy of your trek, of
Yep.
your journey to get to a movie theater near you. Now, $70 for a popcorn bucket? Jesus Christ, I
Oh,
thought Disney
really?
cost a lot. Yeah, have you seen the Trojan horse popcorn bucket? Jesus, Charlize Theron could fit in the thing.
Yeah.
It's $70, and I'm like, yeah, that's more expensive than Disney popcorn
Yep.
buckets. Don't give them any more ideas about raising prices, but
Yep.
still, it is
Yeah.
something to behold. Kit, you are something to behold, and you just recently had a birthday. Happy birthday, Kit! You
Thank you.
made it another
Trip
revolution
around
around
the
the sun,
sun. Yep.
and
Trip around the
hope to
sun.
get to see you soon. Trip around the sun. Hope
Yep.
to see you
You
sometime very
too. You
soon.
too. Yeah.
And
If you guys live in Los Angeles and you are a Universal Studios a theme park fan, go see Dimitri because he works there now. Woohoo! And
yes,
show him your
yes.
shirt. Show him your shirt.
Well, it's Fast and Furious. This summer's been Fast and Furious. We are working Fast and Furious to open up a ride. That much like the Odyssey, it will not disappoint. It'll take you on a journey that your equilibrium will take 20 minutes to catch up once you're done.
So yeah, so check it out and go say hi to Dimitri if you go to Universal. But yeah, they're re-releasing Fast and Furious in the
Yes,
theaters.
they
I think
are. You know
through
what? You just reminded me of one of the greatest Universal Studios in jokes ever to be made, and it comes from the movie Animal House. So there is a character in Animal House by the names of Babs Jansen. At the very end of the movie, they have little epilogues for certain characters, and the character of Bab Jansen earns one, and it's became a Universal Studios Hollywood tour host. Thereafter, for I don't know how long, but it was for a little bit. At the end of every single Universal movie, it would say a title card would show up at the very end of the movie, well after the credits, and would go, "When in Hollywood, visit Universal Studios and say hi to Babs." And now you're going, "When in Hollywood, go to Universal Studios and
And say hi
say
to
hi to
Dee.
Dimitri."
Hi, hi
Say
to
hi,
Dimitri.
say hi to Dimitri. I love it. That it just ties into movies,
Yep.
inside movie jokes, and that's why I love you, Kit. So
Aw. So
thank
yes,
you
so
all.
thanks for everybody. Yeah, like, subscribe, let us know what you thought of the Odyssey and some of your favorite Christopher Nolan films too, if you'd like. We'd love to have that
Yeah,
discussion. But yeah, we'll
awesome.
be back. We'll be back. We've got one more sort of biggie film for the summer. That's the Spider-Man, the next Spider-Man movie. So hopefully we'll get a chance
Looking forward to that. Looking forward to it very
review that for
much.
you guys. And yeah, stay
Yeah.
tuned for
Stay tuned to the movie
more.
conversation. All
All
right,
right.
Kit, great seeing you
You
again.
too,
Great
honey.
having you watch us, folks. Thank you. Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye bye.
Bye, all.